I'm going to recommend that we postpone agenda item 5 regarding the revolving loan fund.
Okay.
Probably just need a little bit more time with that.
We
Um,
cemetery 5A then?
No, it's
Or
not.
5?
just postpone that one.
No, but we'll
Oh,
put
the
the cemetery in
Oh,
that place.
Sure. I'd like to request an executive session at the end of the meeting for personnel matters to discuss a planning and zoning administrator candidate that we interviewed today.
Okay.
And also to let you know that the closing scheduled for tomorrow for the Lathrop property on the corner of Hewitt Road and Route 116 has been postponed currently for for Friday. And we don't know yet what details are involved in that in terms of final closing costs. So if there's a way we can add to the agenda, a kind of a blanket authorization from the select board for us to sign the necessary forms, or authorize me to sign the necessary forms and to cut the necessary checks for the closing costs, even though we don't know what they are yet.
Put that under 8A then maybe.
Right, but since the select board and voters
Closing
approved
costs.
purchasing the property, that's kind of a blanket authorization anyway, but just to be safe. Make it
Okay.
clear.
Okay, alrighty, any others?
That's good.
Okay, overview of Zoom meeting operations, we're all old hats at this now, been 3-4 years now at least. Alright, mute your microphone if you're on TV, the zooming in, and be recognized by the chair. Public forum, 5 minutes per person for people to say or bring up something that's not on the agenda. Jimmy?
Can I comment on something on your regular business?
Why don't we do it under, when we're there, can we do it under there?
Sure. if you
When you're
want.
to comment on.
Yeah, it'll be on, item V1.
Okay, all right. Anybody else? Bill?
Yeah, back on November when I was in here, we talked about having the water line replacement on School Street.
Mhm.
Supposed to happen between May 1st and May 15th. I'm not sure that is gonna happen, but I've got a call into Jill, but
You do have a call into Joe.
what's that?
You have a call already into.
Yeah, we'll figure that out, but as that date's approaching fairly quickly, I'd like to just ask one more time. My directional borer feels though he's gonna have issues pulling the copper line 200 feet, especially with it being, we're gonna have to coupling 200-foot rolls together. And he's thinking we're gonna have kinking problems too. I'd really like to see if I could just use plastic with a tracer. That's the easiest way. If I have to use copper, then I probably have to dig that driveway up, because I don't think you can build all that.
We're currently in the process of revisiting that. I don't know if how close are we to being?
We're not close. The next water commission / select board meeting would be May 13th. It's 3 weeks from today.
This is the replacement of that.
Yeah, I know what it is, but what I'm saying is
No, no,
we're
is that what you're
addressing the whole issue as far
Okay.
as plastic and copper.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But if that's not until the 13th, it may not be early enough for you to.
Well, it may be. I mean, certainly that main line we ran down Pine Street was plastic. The whole main line was.
Yeah.
But it's.
The way the rules are currently written, if you were to run plastic, you'd have to have a meter pit out at the road.
And when the
And-
curb stop thing needs to be replaced anyway.
Right, that was the whole issue, is that they felt as though that the shut offs on that road were not, they couldn't do anything with it. And then the select board decided that between May 1st, May 15th, that whole water line and all the shut offs are gonna be replaced, but I'm not sure that that's,
You mean on School Street?
yeah.
I don't believe we haven't talked about that in more
Yeah.
since the meeting in November.
The way it was left was that they won't know until they get in there what the situation is. They're preparing to have to replace it, but they don't know for certain if they'll need to.
You had the Buffalo box, correct?
What's that?
You had what they call the Buffalo box for curb stop.
Right,
And
right,
then that's out by the road or by the house?
by the road.
No, what they're saying is the main line itself, but they won't know until we get down there what it is.
Right.
Because it's been so long since anybody's dug it up.
Back to your question, Peter, and Valerie said though, with the tracer wire, if they replaced with a new curb stop out there, they could put a meter pit out by the road with a tracer wire.
Yes,
Correct.
that's the way the rules are written now. If he wanted to put a meter pit out there, he could do it and then put the line in with a tracer wire. So yes, it is possible, but it would require a meter pit. But that may change.
Whatever that is. I mean, it's just, if he gets into it with a copper and
Oh, I totally understand.
If it
The
pulls
fittings
apart.
are about half again as big as that, and then you're gonna have to dig it up.
and if it pulls apart, he's gotta pull it back out. And he said, I'll be paying to bore that again. It's just not part of.
Yeah.
He's saying he's gonna have all kinds of trouble with it. But, and here again, this is like a 10 or 12-year-old issue that I'm trying to finally fix, but it just doesn't seem like I'm getting a lot of help on it, really.
Well, this also relates to the issue that came up at the last meeting about, the municipal water lines under private roads, because that section of School Street is a private road. And so it kind of goes into the.
But I think we
details.
own that now.
But it's under private road.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah, we have
so,
a right of way from, there's a line that comes from
Right.
Church Street down.
But either way, I mean, that.
You, like I
should
said,
say
you
that
can,
that-
under
All I
the,
wanna do is fix the problem.
under the current rules,
Right.
all I'm saying is, under the
Unless
current
you guys
rules,
decide
you
it's
can
okay.
you can use plastic, but there has to be a meter pit out at the road.
Okay, I'm okay with that. It doesn't,
But that may change between now and the time you do it.
I'm okay with that, cause this board is gonna be, cost me probably $6,000 or $7,000, and I can't have him tell me he's gonna have problems to get halfway through it.
Yeah.
Only to realize he's got a board.
Peter,
Yes.
we made a decision back then, so you're gonna have to amend that decision of what he did in an application, I believe. We made a decision it had to be copper. So if we're gonna change that to allowing him to do a meter pit, we're gonna have to adjust that, because I think whatever we did back then, there was a letter that said it had to be copper.
I was not here for that meeting. I was hunting. So but I mean, if it meets the rules, if it meets the rules, is there an issue?
I don't know. I'm just saying it. I think it's in writing that he had to put copper in. So if we're changing that, we need to change that so it doesn't come back on him and us. Val, do you remember?
I don't specifically, and I'm not finding an approval letter to
Okay.
that just yet.
Approval letter to me?
Correct.
Oh, no, I haven't received anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it might just have been in the minutes when we had the discussion about it. But I just want to make it clear so that it doesn't come back on either one of us. If we're gonna allow him to do a meter pit, that's fine.
I just said, I think the way our rules are currently written, it allows it.
And
If it's metered, what happens after the meter? Not that I care for that, but like Joel said, you could run a garden hose
Yeah,
as
who
long as you
cares?
metered the water.
Yeah, we'd have to look back at the minutes, since this was a repair topic,
Mhm.
not a new connection topic, there wouldn't have been an approval letter. So that's why I'm not finding one. So I'd have to look back at the minutes.
Well, if we got a couple days, we'll
If you wanna
figure
get
it out.
back to me with it, it's
Yeah,
fine.
okay.
I can't imagine it's gonna happen before the 13th. They
Yeah,
haven't
well, I wouldn't-
notified anybody or.
I wouldn't
Go ahead,
plan
Michelle.
on the 13th being final either. That'll be our first meeting with a set of proposed, you know,
Right.
new
Yeah.
policies, ordinances, so it's not gonna be finalized by then.
Correct.
But it sounds like there's a solution in the rules that meets your approval, right?
What's that?
It sounds like in the rules, there is putting in the meter pit, which you're willing to do, right? You can do
Well,
that?
I mean, if I have to, the way I read it, the select board can approve the plastic line. And I just wanna get the stuff together.
And
I don't,
they're gonna have to dig out to the main anyway.
Yeah.
Up School Street, to hook on, and come off the edge and put the curb stop in a meter pit right there.
dig all the way up through there, yeah, and that's what I'm trying to do is when that pit is open, to have the directional bore there, so we can go right into the pits, like, and hook the line up and everything. It all makes sense, but at some point, we need to open that line of communication up so everybody knows where everybody is, and I don't have that line of communication open.
Okay,
It was supposed to have happened back in November, which I told you guys back then, I knew it wasn't gonna happen, even though they said it was. And then they're saying it was too late in the year, but they're the ones that gave me that date, but it's just,
all right.
it's kind of very frustrating for me, and I've done a lot of these over the years, and I really don't have the answers.
Okay.
I just don't.
I've expected Jill to be on
And
the,
I'm doing
on
this for
with us tonight.
and it's my son's house, I'm doing it for him, because
Okay, if you don't hear from her in a couple of days, give me a ring
you're from who?
from Lee Tums.
Oh, yeah.
Jill,
but-
okay?
But like I
Maybe we
said,
can-
just really, if I gotta do something out at the road, put a meter, it's fine, it's just, it's gonna be an issue with copper, it really is.
Okay.
Yeah, our
Present
engineer,
Polly.
yeah, our engineer said there's a lot of communities are using directional boring, which could, in the long run, could save you a lot of money doing your water lines.
Right.
Well, especially in this case, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm going under a driveway, if it has to be copper, then I guess I gotta dig the driveway out. And
Okay.
it makes no sense,
All right,
they're very costly on it, but.
okay,
So we'll check with Jill.
then check with Jill if you don't hear from her. I'm gonna let, you've made a phone call to Jill, let her.
It is on the radar.
What's that?
It is on the radar.
Yeah, which is fine, I just, the plastic line is kind of an important thing for me, the rest of it, even if it has to be put off for a while. It's got good water pressure there, everything else, but it just, I wanna do the directional boring, it just, it's 200 feet of driveway that I gotta replace.
All right, okay.
All right, thanks you guys.
Michelle, you got any more questions on that?
Nope.
Okay, thanks. Okay, anybody else? Consent agenda, approve a curb cut driveway access permit for 34 Orchard Terrace. For the public works foreman's recommendations and conditions. Guess this is gonna be a working driveway for him to do the work on that ditch and things, are correct, Eric, what you just told me?
Yeah, he wants the driveway there so he can access it to get the dirt that he's got piled up, taken away.
Yeah, so he doesn't
Instead of having
drive
to go over to leach field and all that
the
stuff.
known system. Okay,
And then there are,
They're
4
more
other
there.
items on the
Yeah,
consent
I'm
agenda.
You gotta read
So-
them all.
yeah, I will, just.
And the idea is to approve them all in a single motion.
Right, but also
If
like
there's
to,
no topics for discussion.
that, I'd like to say when the work is done, the driveway
You
permit
know,
goes away, correct?
Point of order, Joel, you gotta read them all first before we discuss
All
them, so you
right,
get them
approve
all.
Grand Fondo request for use of Bristol roads for annual bicycle events, Saturday, June 29th, beginning at 6 AM, Bristol Rec Field. Approval road name request for 2 new private roads off of Harvey Road, Whitetail Lane and Rough Grouse Lane. Approval of use of Park Place for use of Bristol Youth Sports Car Wash fundraiser on Sunday, May 5th, 2024 from 3 to 5 PM. And accept the resignation of firefighter Randy DeRose. Okay,
Motion to approve the
Is there a
consent
motion?
agenda.
there's a motion, is there a second?
Are there any topics that you want to take off of the consent
Let me get
agenda for further
second.
discussion?
Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Jessica seconds it. Okay, the only one is, once the driveway, when he's done the work, I'd like.
Like it removed,
Remove, so it doesn't become a second driveway for that second,
yeah, cause eventually over time, it will,
yes. And,
so.
and I saw when
Can
you
you add that condition to it?
and I saw, okay, is there a motion, do we need a motion for that, or?
No.
And then, I saw, the bike race, they've always done this, and they have us as a, or do we need to be insured on that?
No, they'll submit
They'll
that.
submit that, okay,
Same as last year.
and Bristol Youth Sports, should we close the park, are we gonna close that, our park place, or let traffic go through there? Or traffic to wash, I gotta go,
2 hours on a Sunday.
I'd
okay,
say we let traffic go through and it might feed their numbers,
Right.
right, if you get stuck in the car wash.
Direct
Okay.
traffic. people.
Al, do you know where they're gonna
And-
be? Do you know
What's
where they're
that?
gonna be doing the car wash?
I
where
imagine crossing the
specifically?
Dennis right there along the road,
Yeah, because the easiest way for the hose to get through the park and onto into the park street. So probably I would say right in the middle, the 6 parking spots near the power. That the big tower that's on that
Gotcha.
side.
About halfway down.
Yeah. Okay, and then, Randy DeRosa resigning, I just wish Randy well. He was a good firefighter, he came from Brandon, but he's been very busy, so he couldn't stay on. Okay, is a motion and a second to accept the
Yeah.
consent agenda? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye, opposed? Staying? Okay, it is approved.
Thanks.
Regular business, consider proposal to replace the bandstand with an alternative design. Rec Director Meredith McFarland. Meredith, first?
And also I have all these things here too. So it's Valerie, I sent you
Yeah,
the,
I'm looking, I'm trying to pull it out.
thanks Steve for putting this all together. So I'll just wait until Valerie brings it up on the board, but, just in general, a lot of people love the Bristol Bandstand. We're not getting rid of it, but what we wanna do is make it accessible for everybody. Not just for the Bristol Band, but I've had Santa in the Bristol Band, and luckily Santa could get up and go down to the ground level and meet this kiddo who was in a wheelchair. But if we had had it lowered and had a slight ramp to it, this kiddo could have felt normal and gone on to the bandstand. So anytime that I see, a child feeling not normal, kind of gets me in my heart. So, also in just talking to the Bristol Band folks, it's a tight squeeze up there. And also it's a hike up to that platform. So the thought is, the first thought is, Steve, you wanna take this away? Cause this is your
Sure.
bill.
Uh-oh. You're in the hot seat? She knows when to duck.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're a pretty big band at this point, and it's a pretty tight squeeze, I can tell from playing up there. Getting everybody up there and getting everybody off is quite a little chore at the beginning and the end of the event. And, we don't have any place to have instruments undercover or music undercover. And it for an aging band, for some of it's tough to get up there and to get back down, and for other events that you're having, like Meredith was talking about, it can be difficult for people to access. So the thought was to replace it with something bigger, so there's more elbow room. And if we had to put, music undercover for a quick shower, we could do that without scrambling like we do now. And have it be so that it's really only one step up onto a slab. And I'm gonna scroll back to there's a drawing of the proposed, I think it's on the previous page or the next page. Yeah. So this would be just one step onto a concrete slab, which would be pitched from the center out to drain in all directions. And there would be a little pad out front that would serve as a step and a landing for a small ramp off to the right-hand side, which would have handrails. And as far as the look, we would really be trying to mimic the ornamentation and the materials and the colors of the current bandstand. The benches, one of the other things that we struggle with is just, as I said, getting people on and off, all the gear on and off the bandstand during an event. And so the idea here would to be potentially not to have the railing go around as it does now, which it does for safety, and also acts as a backrest for the bench that's up there, but have that bench be freestanding between the columns, so that you could walk between the column and the benches, so everybody can kind of get on and off at a bunch of different points. And the bench back would still mimic the current railing design, so there'd still be some language that you'd see that reminded you of the way the current bandstand looks. There's another idea as well we're sort of playing around with, which would help with our gear loading and unloading, and also might help with other community events, and that's to develop the benches so that you could flip the bench seat up and store chairs in it. so that, setting up wouldn't require that we haul all the folding chairs in a trailer out there and set them all up from the outside. They'd be able to just pop the benches open and populate the area with chairs. That's kind of on the wish list. We'll see how things go, money wise and technically speaking, whether that ends up still being.
And just to tailgate that, the thought is also to update the lighting in there. I put the light bulbs in there, light bulbs disappeared. If we had the LED receding, lights, that would take care of that issue. And it'd actually probably look a lot better than having these funny little light bulbs sticking out. But yeah.
And the other thing is that we're making it bigger in terms of footprint. And I haven't been able to understand yet whether or not that's taboo or not. You can see from this diagram, I don't know if I can be blown up a little bit, but so this is just scaling photographs. So this is just to kind of give you a sense of the difference between the current bandstand and the proposed. So you can see the current bandstand in the photograph, the red octagon is the proposed size, with the little pad out front, which indicate that's the entry ramp and the entry pad. And that would, again, allow us a lot more elbow room for the band to operate. And I think also would allow for a lot more flexibility for other groups to use that as a gathering space outside of the time that the band is usually here.
So the height of the where you would sit would be almost ground level.
Almost ground level, yeah. We played all last summer during COVID on the lawn. So I don't think the performance has suffered for not being raised, which is kind of the old school thought about the bandstands, is that they put them up so the sound would carry better. And also that's the reason for the tipped ceiling, is that reflects the sound out in all directions. And we keep a little bit of that in the current design, the tipped ceiling. But I don't know if it's really necessary with the size of the park and the crowd that we have, that we'd be up, almost 4 feet off the ground.
I guess a couple of drawbacks I see is when it's ground level is, right now, if you have a speaker for Memorial Day or July 4th or an event, people can look up and see the speaker. When they're all ground level, you're standing there going like this. If you're short, you can't see that well. So, Jessica,
I was just gonna say, I don't have concerns about that. I can never see what's going on up there anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. I just had questions more about, this is covered under town insurance. So would we need the design to be looked at by the insurance? No, we can make the decision ourselves.
Although I do believe.
Labor and industry would have to look at it, or, public safety,
Yeah.
Okay.
And have you met with the zoning administrator to see
No,
what kind of
so-
local permits are needed?
What I did was I talked to Chris, and
Yeah.
Chris said, let's start with the select board. And I said, yes, sir, and that's why we're here. Just so, a couple of reasons is for the guidance of the select board, but also to let the public know that this is out there, and to see the interest that's happening with this Bristol bandstand.
yeah. I know, Jimmy, you spoke earlier.
Just a couple of questions. Are all the band members for this? You guys are all in the band, right?
Yes.
How many-
You're all for or against them?
I don't know if we've
There are
taken.
probably 50 members, and I can't say we can
Well,
speak
you
for all
guys
of
are
them.
here.
I don't think.
Yeah,
we've
I am.
taken.
I guess I do have a question. Ken, when you started, you took over from Roy back in the 60s or 70s. How many band members do you have then?
Boy, when I first joined the band, we were lucky to have 12 or 15 people in the band.
So if we get
And now
100,
we're
we're gonna have to,
averaging
if
probably
we
over
get 100,
30.
we gotta build it twice as big again in 15 years.
You just set chairs on the outside.
Yeah.
If they're down low, actually, you could just go around the outside and set them on the drift edge.
Good.
It's been sort of a struggle for the folks on the lawn when it gets dark. The stand lights works somewhat, but it's hard to see the director, and it's not the same as being closer together on the bandstand as a group,
You mean
spread out on the lawn.
the people, the band, it's hard to see.
It's hard for the band to,
Is that a lighting problem or? a
yeah, when it's outdoors.
He was talking about when we were out.
Oh, when you're out on the lawn, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, Jimmy, you had your hand up again? You had a question?
I hate to see the old bandstand totally gone. Meredith just showed me it as an ultimate plan about.
Yeah, but there's a,
Redoing what's on there now. Modernizing the bandstand. That appears that it doesn't solve your problem. It's been there so long, it's iconic, you know, I hate to see it go totally. If it's gonna be redone, if it can be done exactly the way it looks and no steel railings, use wood the way it has been, that's another
I
discussion.
mean,
The other thing is, does it conform to the rulings that you guys had about putting structures on a park? Is it changing that rule?
It says no, the ruling, or it says no new structures.
No new
I
structures.
don't know that it says anything about changing the size. That would have been an oversight.
How about the funding for it? Where's that supposed to come from?
so, before we start, first, I'm working with Frida, the grant administrator, so we're trying to get some grants, because there's a lot of arts and, support for arts and is an art. So there's that, and then fundraising. There's a gentleman who owns the Vermont Puzzle Company, and he actually has a puzzle of the Bristol Bandstand. And he offered to sell it to us for a low cost and use it for a fundraiser, and we can keep proceeds from that we make over that. I think right now we're at this amount of money for moving ahead, but again, that's why we gotta get the ball rolling somehow.
It's not listed in historic building, is it? Is it a historic register?
it's not, I don't believe it's on historical register like this is.
If it isn't, then there's no problem.
Yeah.
Well, if it is on the
Women-
national register, but no federal dollars are being used toward it, it's okay. But if there are federal dollars and it is on the national register, then it would need to conform with the historic preservation guidelines and get approval from the Division for Historic Preservation.
It appears that it's not on the register, otherwise we would have a plaque over there, right? That would name.
Diane, you first and then Ken.
I think you do lose something by losing the height and bringing it down to grass level or one step up. I think you lose visibility and for people on the bandstand, plus people looking at the bandstand. Bandstands are always, if you look around other parks, they're elevated. And so I think you lose something if you're gonna take that away. So I'm also wondering about what's under there. Could that be adapted and used for some storage? Like to put the chairs under there?
The last time I was down under there was 25, 30 years ago.
Well, it would
There's a
have
bunch
to
of beams, you know. great big
Yeah, there's
beams on
cross
it.
bracing.
Cross bracing in
That
there and
keeps the
stuff.
thing from
Yeah.
waving around.
And so that prevents any kind of space.
Yeah, I think that would be difficult.
I mean, I see that, as Jimmy was saying, I mean, as about three sacred things in town.
Mhm.
This building, that, and a large prayer rock. Why don't we go down
Well,
and move all three and see who they hang first on the park?
right, well,
I mean, I'd like to see it, real long, that's gonna get out and say, because there's a newspaper reporter recording the Addis of this, and see what we feel for questions.
But that's what Meredith is saying, is she wants to start this process now to collect this kind of feedback.
because secondary to
So I think
Holly
this is great.
Hall, that is, the park is a showplace for
It
Bristol.
sure is.
You know, and we shouldn't lose that character.
Yeah, Ken?
Historically speaking, the bandstand that's there now is not the first bandstand. There are pictures of other bandstands previous to this one, so,
I bet they weren't as nice as this.
no, they weren't, but maybe the new ones might be nicer. So, you know,
Would be nice.
all I'm saying is, historically speaking, it's not the first bandstand, that's all I'm saying.
Meredith, do you have the photographic example of another bandstand that's a low profile?
Yes, I don't think I sent it, just for example, so, in Virgins, they have a bandstand. It's metal, which I didn't really like, but it is low to the ground. And that's an example, and also in London, no, St. Johnsbury, or up in Northeast Kingdom, there's another, lowered bandstand. The, like, ground level, I guess more, I mean, we can always, for accessibility, you know, the rise is 7 inches,
Mhm.
correct? So, I mean, like, so if it was 14 feet up, that would still be accessible,
14 inches.
14 inches, sorry.
You're gonna say you're gonna
Still
raise
be
it 14?
accessible, and it would still give that presentation of being up. But this is 4 feet, I mean, it's actually probably more.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, I can't remember exactly, but is the sidewalk that goes through the center of the park higher than the?
Yeah, you
So
drop
the-
it down.
So the grade could conceivably be raised. You know, go with your same design and the grade could be raised around it so that it was actually higher and the grade pitch away. And that can be done tastefully. I mean, that would be a thought. If the height is a real issue, you can raise the grade and grade around so that it's gradual up to it. You know, and if you have your handicap, maybe whatever you end up with a design, maybe it's 2 steps in between the way with your design now, and then the ramp side is less because we've brought the grade up.
Yeah, and honestly, the grass and the dirt on the park itself is old. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you walk through there, it's kind of like the grass is struggling in certain places, so it would be great, honestly, to just do that anyways. And, you know, put more dirt in that area.
Good picture.
So, but the approval, what we're being asked for is just approval to move forward with the process to try to get funding. And then we would do open meetings about the design, so we'd be able to.
If it's anything, if it ends up being anything like the memorial was, it will be a very heated debate.
Mhm.
And I'm glad Joel is chair and I am
playground.
not.
Well, I figured. we
Can
go
I ask
back
a couple
ways. I can
questions?
Remember, maybe Ken, you were on the board then when they put the coach house was on the park.
I wasn't.
Well, we decided the coach house could not go on the park because it had a roof structure, and we discovered that the rules did not allow for it.
But it was on there for a few years, then it got rolled down the street.
Yeah, it was a
Remember the
horrible
day?
thing. They took it down to the Johnson Company, and stored it in the winter.
No, that was the information.
Oh, that's the information
The
book.
information booth down by the
That's
Catholic.
right. The coach house ended up across the street.
Yeah, the coach house is right across from
Yeah.
Champlain Burns.
It's in a great spot now.
It is. That's where it always should have been, but it was on the park for a number of years.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is a great community discussion. I mean, it is definitely a highlight of Bristol. Go ahead, Bill.
There's a safety factor here too. In that last picture, you could see where I was standing on the edge of the stairs. Well, this band is so big, there are times that I have to step back to get up the band. One of these days, I'm gonna step back and I'm gonna go down those stairs.
We won't have a bandstand.
Would a gate there work?
No,
A swinging gate that locks when you're up there, that opens up? Just a
No.
thought, I'm just throwing.
You also, as Steve mentioned, we are an aging band who haul our chairs and stands up and down those stairs every Wednesday night. And as a younger person in the band, it is quite nerve-wracking to watch some of our members who are still insistent that they're going to do it themselves, go up and down those stairs.
it's dangerous.
Noelle has her hand up.
Yeah, hi guys.
So does Michelle.
Oh, Michelle too, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
This is Noel. I'm here. I'm the band president and I'm sorry, I can't be there in person, but I'm not feeling well at all. So, but I figured I'd still Zoom in. And so I just wanted to show my presence that I'm here with you guys, Bill, Steve, all of you guys. But also to reiterate that the safety thing, I think for me is the number one reason, the inclusivity for the older members. And not just for the band, but over the summer when there's lots of people that go up and down onto that bandstand, and there's lots of little kids running up and down. There's older folks who insist on going up there, that kind of stuff. And I just think the height thing is one big concern for us, not just the width, but to bring it down just a little bit. I personally have caught people falling down the stairs before, an instrument in one hand and looking for something to grab on the other hand. So just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you.
Yep.
Michelle,
Just a couple questions. I mean, I have some of the same concerns that Joel had, just about height visibility, from both directions. But my one question is, are they using any portion of the existing bandstand on the new one, or is it gonna be a complete reconstruction?
The current proposal is a complete reconstruction.
Did you hear him, Michelle?
Yeah,
did you hear Michelle?
Yeah, because we're going wider, there's really, I mean, there's not much we could recycle except the wording of the stenciled writing. on
Roy
it.
Clark, dedicated to Roy Clark.
Yeah.
There's another question.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
The neighbors, well, if you have a ramp, then it would be, you didn't have to use, you could use the stairs or the ramp, so it wouldn't really make a difference whether it's raised.
No, well, it's just my way of getting around. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just my way of getting around having it be so low. I think you could gain a couple feet so that you were up, to answer the question. You wouldn't be probably on the front side, it could stay high, and on the back side, you'd have the ramp and you could bring the grade up. I see that as very doable, and it would blend in.
Speaker, how would that affect though, like July 4th, when they have all the vendors and that on the park, or Oktoberfest or Harvest Festival
I
and
know,
all that?
well, that's where you get into, I mean, it's something that would have to be looked at, but I don't
Yep.
think they set anything up between the stairs and the sidewalk.
That's correct. We don't set anything up for Bristol Harvest Fest or the 4th of July in that area for two reasons. It slopes down, and so anybody who's got a tent, it doesn't work out great. And so just even building up that area would benefit all those events that are in the park.
And we didn't have any kind of, surveyed, topo of this. So if there's some grading to be taken advantage of in terms of making adjustments to how high it is and how far the ramp really has to go, I mean, I think we could definitely flesh that out with some more information.
Right, so all we're doing now is just saying whether they can move forward with fundraising.
Yeah, I believe that's what they're after, and I'm very much in favor of letting them move forward, because we're gonna know very, very quickly if the public supports it or not.
Exactly, and then we can decide if we have
Yeah.
to talk about the design.
Yeah.
Great.
And Meredith, I think you had mentioned to me perhaps a possibility of even selling the existing band.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if there's a way to create funds, it would be to sell this bandstand so we could afford to build the bigger and safer updated bandstand.
So in any case, if it does go forward to implementation, there'd be some period of time where there's none. Well, the old one is gone, or the current one is gone, and the new one is being constructed. Unless the new one can just be, transported in place.
It's not that much bigger. I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen mobile homes, otherwise being transported, so.
It's,
Yeah.
it would have to be broken into pieces.
Yeah, it'd have to be cut
Can't
now,
transported.
16 feet.
Even the current one would be difficult.
But we don't have to decide
But
that
pre-
tonight.
yeah.
Linda?
So I'm just wondering if you can do fundraising without a proper design, because if I was giving money, I'd wanna know what.
Personally, I don't know as I would fundraise until you found out how the community feels
Yes.
about it.
So I think something that I can do, is create a survey. Get it out there, front porch, Facebook, social media, all that stuff, and see what we get in return. And then we can all take a look at that and see what the answer is from the
Yeah.
community.
We haven't obviously spent any money other than, my time to draw this, to, get it engineered, or to, get an estimate for cost. We could do a little bit of both with some seed money from maybe the band. This is speaking without really talking to anybody about it. Just to, get a reality check on what the materials might be, and have somebody give us a ballpark price so that we can at least, that people are curious about. And what magnitude of a project are we talking about dollar wise? We can at least
So the way you've got this drawn, it's 4 foot frost walls capped with a slab.
Yeah. And I don't know with the gravel that's there, whether the 4 foot frost wall is really necessary or not, but,
Well, it would assure that it wouldn't move.
that's the belt and suspenders.
And the other side of that is then you can play with the grade because you've got something you can grade up to.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Jimmy, you have another question?
Was there any consideration given to any shrubbery or anything around that? The reason I ask is in 1991, I donated all the shrubbery that was around there and everything that was around the town hall. And it really bothered me that nobody took care of it and it was gone. It was a lot of shrubs. Plan on doing anything like that, would help with erosion, and if so, just to make sure it's upkept, not like losing it like we did on this.
I would like to see just a campaign for whether, as you said, your survey, for even raise any money or ban puts any money, just what's the public thing?
Yeah.
You're probably gonna have to have a conceptual drawing, and I think,
Yeah.
they may,
I mean,
can you do grade and stuff on your drawing, or are you just a flat?
I'm pretty limited with what I can do right now. I'm retired. I don't have access to all the bells and whistles I used to have, so this was the easiest thing I could do in 2D CAD without getting into the 3D crazy stuff, which I could do, but I don't have access to it at the moment, so.
If we know what the grants are that Meredith can apply for, we can check and see when those dates are, like when does she need to apply? And that can set the timeline for everything else, because you wouldn't do public fundraising until you know what the gap is, right? Like,
I don't wanna collect any money and then be like, oh, sorry, guys.
right, exactly. Like you want to know what money you have in hand and what the gap is before you do public fundraising. So whatever those deadlines are, that's when you'd need to have a conceptual drawing for those grant applications. So I would just let that set your deadline instead of creating one.
Yeah, that can give us a little help. I definitely think we'll have to spend a little bit of money. The rec department, for the Harvest Fest, we make like $600. So, I could say that with that $600, we can put it towards a grade, I guess, a plan for seeing the grade on top of what Steve's done here, or, like, I know I have $600 that can be towards something that's in the park.
Well, I'm willing to come down and give you grade shots, and then you can take somebody who, if you can find somebody who's willing to take those numbers and plug them in and do whatever. I mean, I would, personally, I'd like to see it raised, but that's not my own decision. And if there's a way to raise it, I think that's part of the beauty of it is being up, but I also understand being able to get on it. And I think both can be accomplished.
I like your idea.
We haven't consulted with Chris yet about zoning, but there's a possibility that it might require design review approval. And in which case, the outcome of that review process will inform what you have to work with. And so you might want to think about the sequence of how that's going to go, and whether you try to go through the permit process first before really going any further, so that you have an approvable project that you're presenting to the public and have something to work with for budget purposes and things like that.
Well, I don't know that we need a motion to allow them to proceed. I see no reason why you.
I have one more question.
Yeah, go ahead, Linda.
How much bigger, like, what square feet is it now, and then how much bigger is it gonna be?
Looks like they're looking for, it's 24 and it's going to 30,
Yeah.
24.8 and it's going to 30, so it'd be,
6 feet.
yeah, 3 feet on each
3
side.
feet on the side, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that-
basically
Actually, that diagram shows that 6 feet being in one direction, so it doesn't get closer to the trees.
Oh, okay. So in all reality, it's not gonna be much bigger than where the concrete drip line is around it now.
Yeah, we kind of use that as somewhat of a footprint.
But I'm okay with them moving forward to look. If you want a motion, I can make a motion, but I don't see where we need a motion for them to.
Consensus of the
Yeah.
board is fine.
Yeah. Go for
I
it.
mean, I'm okay, I wanna start with a survey of public opinion. If they start throwing.
But they're gonna wanna know what it's gonna look like.
I think you got somewhat the drawing there of, here it is, what do you think, public? And our phones start ringing off the hook. I can remember in the seventies figure, they wanted to cut off 1.5 off Lord's Prayer Rock, remember that day?
Did you guys
Those
put it
nights?
back on?
No, it's that white, they ended up buying a gallon of painting the corner.
I was one of the ones pushing for that.
Yeah, they wanted to cut it off, and they said, no way, you're gonna.
I was one of the
blah, blah,
ones.
blah.
There it is.
That was-
Oh, this is sealed.
Oh, is that what this
It's
is?
30 years ago, 50 years ago, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Think this will be one of those hot topics.
Fred Jackman and Gary Orvis were gonna move that stone back.
And with the cranes nowadays, they should. but-
Great, well, thank you. So this is, what we've asked for is exactly what we're getting.
Yeah.
We got some direction, and we've made it public. And you can see that people do, have an opinion and a, reason to move ahead on this, so thank you for coming down.
Thank you all for
Thank
coming.
you for coming.
Thank you, Ben.
Linda, yeah, I'm gonna-
Feel free to
before they
stay, the
leave.
rest of the meeting's a lot of
Michelle,
fun too.
Michelle's got a question. Hold on. Linda.
I just,
Michelle, you got a question?
No, you didn't ask for her opinion as to far as move ahead.
Oh,
That's what I was trying to tell you. You asked me, you asked Jessica, you answered.
I said, Michelle, you wanna have to move ahead with this, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think getting a survey without a picture and a plan is gonna get you much, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's up to Meredith. They'll figure out soon enough whether, between Chris and the DRB and public safety, whether, or whatever A&R, whether they can do what they want to do.
Yeah, personally, I wanna put a package together, so I don't have to receive all phone calls with questions. If I've already answered them in this survey, makes my life a lot easier, so.
Linda, you got one more question?
I just wanted to, I love those bushes around the bandstand. I want to thank you for doing that. And I didn't know why they disappeared, but I love them,
Which
so
one am I
thank
on?
you.
You don't know how much that will worth.
So beautiful, that was beautiful.
When did it
I
disappear?
don't know, nobody seems to know.
Sometime in the mid to late nineties. But my uncle had a greenhouse up there, most of you guys know he had a greenhouse, and when he passed away, one of his wishes that he had made was to donate some of the shrubbery, and that's when it came about.
Oh, that's cool.
Do we know why they disappeared, Joe?
I don't. Last time I worked on that was early nineties. I did some benches in there. I still got some of those white railings things in my garage. On the shop. I had a spare couple feet.
Well, I could use one or two. 'cause
Okay,
some are
I'll dig 'em out.
Not looking so good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you, Jim, for those.
Thank you guys for coming. You got any more questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
And then Steve, I'm gonna catch up.
Moving
with
right
you.
Okay.
along.
We'll figure something out with Beaker.
Yeah.
We see that.
What?
The hub.
Oh, no, I did.
It's okay, they have lots of
Brett had
ideas.
texted me that he was in an emergency meeting with.
Oh, where,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I will go back.
No, I don't.
Sorry, we skipped over department head round.
We did.
Just told them that.
They were all here and they wanted to go.
No, Meredith's not leaving yet. Yeah.
Okay, I apologize.
Welcome again, take care.
See ya.
Oh, I will.
Diane.
Thank you.
I skipped over department head roundtable. I apologize to our department heads, so let's get started. Bruce, you're on. Let's go with you first.
Nothing new to add, business as usual.
Okay, Eric?
Our new officer's on and working good?
Yep.
Yes, he's on. Most of his uniform equipment has arrived and he's started.
Oh, great.
Awesome.
Good. Eric?
Just still continuing cleaning up the wind debris from that windstorm in December, and I do have the Pine Street stuff, so I don't know if we wanna talk about it now or later.
Well, I'll let Meredith jump in and.
It's the next agenda.
Sex agenda.
Oh, okay.
After
I
that.
did need the thing, so I guess.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, so no, that's basically it.
You told me you guys were gonna go to, starting the first full week in May, gonna go to.
Well,
That's on the agenda.
Oh, okay, that's right, sorry. All right, Meredith,
Let's see here, Bristol Youth Sports happening, we've got lots of kids out there playing lacrosse. We're working well with Bristol Rec Club, for using the space, and we appreciate that. This week is community swim, $5 per swimmer from 8 to 12, so if any of you wanna hit the pool this week, come on down. Like summer camps, they were sold out long ago. I just finished the wilderness first aid course this last weekend because we take these kids out in the woods. I learned a lot, so I'm pretty excited that I hopefully don't need to use any of the things I learned.
okay, and nice article on the.
Oh, yeah,
the
the
bike.
Indy.
Yeah, the Indy, nice article. Sharon, what do you think?
As you know, last Monday was tax day, literally for everything. So the property taxes are in, unfortunately, we have a lot of delinquency for this tax year. Tuesday was the election for MAUSD, which failed, so we'll probably be having another one coming up here, who knows when, I haven't heard anything. So we're just moving along, collecting money, waiting to see what's gonna happen next.
Sharon, could I ask you, for the properties that have delinquent taxes, are they the same as in years past, or are there lots of new ones on
No,
there?
I think there's new ones.
New ones?
Yeah, there's
Okay.
a significant amount of unpaid taxes for this tax year
Mm-hmm.
compared to the overall.
And have people contacted you to make arrangements yet, or?
I just sent out the pink slips
Okay.
on Friday. We had a handful come in today.
Mhm.
But there's still a lot out there. There's probably at least 150 properties that they didn't pay their taxes.
That's a lot.
Okay, and, Brett texted me that he's on, emergency management watch officer, and he's currently dealing with the situation, so he won't be able to give a report. Okay. Okay, and I apologize to you guys for going over that. Okay, we'll go down to regular business again. Continue consideration of grinding and paving quotes from Pike Industries Incorporated, scheduled for Pine Street and the Lincoln Road project and funding sources.
Now you need to come
Now-
up and you can bring your paper.
Well, no, this is drainage, nothing to do with paving.
Grinding.
Where's your grinding and paving quote?
She has it,
Yeah.
but I
So,
can come down.
Okay.
Don't want to, but I can.
Sit here and smile.
Which one of,
That blue one.
what's the order of the projects? Which one's going to
yeah,
happen
which one do you wanna
first?
talk about?
Let's go in chronological order. Which one's supposed to happen first?
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Thanks. Lost everybody. It was such a fun party to start with.
So it usually
So,
happens.
which,
One topic.
Anyone you put up first.
all right, let's see,
It should be same sheet, I think.
yeah. Keep, yikes, these strange windows keep popping up.
Do we know when they'll happen, or that will be worked out later?
What's that?
These
Grinding.
Pine Street, Lincoln Street, and Lincoln Road, like, does one of them happen before the other, or we don't have dates yet?
No dates yet.
No dates, okay.
Moncton Road is the grant. We won't hear from that anyways until later on, even if we get the grant.
Yeah,
If we don't get the grant, we won't be doing Moncton Road anyways.
okay.
So there's what I got for an estimate for Lincoln Road and Pine Street. So the paving, the reclaiming, and then each street total cost.
And I am going to try to switch gears and put that in context with, let me stop sharing first, because
So we don't see all the windows you have open?
that too. I summarized those, and I didn't put Moncton down, my bad,
No, it's a grant anyways.
right. But if we did get Moncton, if we did get the full grant from Moncton, we'd be in good shape.
Yeah.
But let me pull up my spreadsheet that kind of tells a story here.
Is it gonna snow again this week?
No.
We're not gonna get enough from the cloud.
Well, I'll tell you what, the salt that's left in my burn, you won't have it anymore, because that's what I'm putting on the roads,
The what, the salt?
Oh, even on the,
on the dirt, everything.
would not be a bad idea, to see if it works.
Yeah.
So this screen shows the combination of the Lincoln Road and Pine Street paving, the grinding and the reclamation, and the total project for those. With the Lincoln Road, we have a $200,000 grant, but there's also a 20% match. So if we can somehow increase the total project cost for Lincoln Road to $250,000 instead of 218, then and minus the $200,000 grant, then the $50,000 would be our match. So taking that plus the Pine Street brings us to a total for both of those of $117,000 for both of those projects. And let's see if this will work. Okay, good. So this shows us what funding we have available. These are the reserve funds. Capital Reserve Fund here, our current balance is 179 plus change. With the upcoming appropriations, they for FY25, they total $165,000 for a total of 344 for capital paving. And then for capital roads, I misspoken earlier, current balance is 159 plus change. With the upcoming allocations of $150,000, that gives us a total of 309 for a total of $653,000 for both paving and road work. And looking at the Lincoln Road and Pine Street projects, and then also the Lincoln Road Riverbank project, they total 521. So if we do all of those, in other words, we have the resources to do all three of those.
What does that mean for your?
I'm
other
confused.
projects?
Why would we want to increase the Lincoln Road to 250 and have our local share be 50?
Well, if we don't meet the local share, we don't get the full amount of the grant, which is fine. It'll just be a lower project cost. We just won't be able to.
So you mean we wouldn't get the full 200,000?
Say that again?
What's that, Michelle?
You're saying we wouldn't get the full 200,000 if our cost isn't 250?
Correct.
Okay.
It'll be proportional because it has to be a 20% match of whatever the actual expense is.
Okay.
So if we want to take advantage of the $200,000 grant,
The full
it needs to be at the
$200,000.
full, yeah, it needs to be at least 250,000.
Well, you also got, our costs because we're gonna gravel, we're gonna do some ditching time up there. Our incline time is gonna be probably not close to 50,000, of course. but-
Right, so that would have been incorporated into or included in the 18,000.
Well, you only need, you don't need 50, you need
Well, for
30.
Right.
according
Cause
to,
the 218, you said, oh no, that's both projects.
yeah.
Where are we
So
at?
the 218 is just the Lincoln Road
So,
218 is just the
for
Lincoln.
grinding and paving.
so we're 30 grand short in order to get the full 200.
30
Yeah, pretty
plus,
much.
yeah.
So, guardrails, will they pay for guardrails?
That's a
Not
paving
through the
grant,
paving grant.
right?
Okay,
Will they pay for new culverts across there, cross culverts before we pave it?
they're all,
Them are all been changed.
They have been.
And it can only be for the Lincoln Road, and we can't use it for Pine Street also.
Correct.
Just one project.
Class 2 road.
Okay.
I mean,
Can you make
our
up,
time
Eric?
for ditching, what's up, Michelle?
What can you make up?
So that's what I was just gonna say, our time for in-kind could be, the ditching, cleaning all the ditches up through there. We're gonna gravel the road as well, build it up, reshape it, so you're gonna have, I ain't figured out the gravel yet, but
15.
So this just shows the benchmarks.
good.
no, I'm thinking there's gotta be a mobilization fee in that total cost.
Well, let's see.
For paving, or do they just give you a square footage price?
They give you a square footage price.
So there's no mobilization?
It's included in the square footage price.
Okay, so that doesn't help. I was just thinking if we could build all the mobilization to one.
Yeah.
It's really sad when we have to start trying to create the expenses.
Well,
but if we
yeah,
spend-
it was, the last meeting was the same thing, Michelle. was
I know.
We didn't
I know.
create enough.
Well, in this case, if we don't make the 250 and we are in the ballpark of the 218, the project, total project cost is lower. So we don't get as much grant,
Right,
but, we also don't have to kick
It's
in as
just-
much in kind.
right.
So it is proportional, it'll work out, but the bottom line is to show that we have the resources to do it.
Yeah, but then that really depletes,
Right.
especially the paving, yes, we realize that, but it depletes our road budget, our road, capital roads, that I thought we were reaching into some of that for the base,
Doing what?
for the basin street.
Not next year. No, we still have time to build that back up. It leaves a balance of 132.
Even with all the design work that Chris went over 2 weeks ago, or 3, yeah.
Well, we still got the Pine Street drainage to consider.
And the Pine
So
Street
there's
drainage,
that, yeah.
Yeah, and that's,
and
I
we
got
want,
all my,
and we wanted to do.
contractors and stuff and updated the culvert prices and all that.
Okay,
And I thought we wanted to do Munsell this year, so in next year, they do the water line.
Well, Munsell is gonna be, I
Or is that
haven't
we're gonna
figured
put
out.
that in with the water line.
I was kind of incorporating that in with the water line. Hopefully the same contractor that would do the water line would also do the drainage and
Like
give
we
a
did
better
on West-
price,
Like West Street, yeah.
you know,
Yeah, okay,
so.
yeah, okay.
and this scenario assumes that we strive for that, full $250,000 total cost for Lincoln Road in order, which would require $50,000 match. That's what this scenario reflects.
It could easily be met by putting just a hair more base down.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
do we need to? I mean, do we wanna spend the money if we don't have to?
Right, Lincoln, there is a couple spots up through Lincoln Road that should be, dug out and put a good base in. There's a
I mean, I
couple
just look
spots
at
up
this-
there.
I look at this and feel like if we put the 250 in, we get the 200,000, okay, but it's gonna be a wash. You know, if we don't have to put as much in-kind work in, you're
Right,
not spending as much. I mean,
Exactly.
to me, it would equal out or about equal out in the end.
Mhm.
Right.
So I could,
Eric, is this grinding all from the bridge all the way to the town line?
yes. Well, all the way from, 116 all the way to town line.
The bridge.
Same with the paving, all the way from there to,
Hey, look at that, she just found us more money.
well, I went back to the original, the current quote and put it down to what the quote is
So
about.
why is Pine Street so much, it seems shorter to me than what we're talking about.
We have a
in-
grant, we have a $200,000 grant for Lincoln Road.
Pine Street.
Okay,
no grant,
okay.
it's Pine Street.
Right.
So when you go back to the estimates for the paving,
Paving alone for Lincoln Road is 175,000.
Yeah, it's 200.
See, they'll put,
okay,
they'll put probably 3.5 or 3 inches minimum on
Two.
it just seems like such
Lincoln
a
Road and
longer
there's two
space, you know what I
2 inch base
mean?
and 1.5 inch top.
It's
Like,
only
that's not a
doing the
big
base
price
right now.
difference
Or
for the
they're doing the
distance.
base, and Pine Street's doing the base, a
Yeah.
2 inch base.
The other thing they know, Jessica, is that the Lincoln Road is just 2 inches of pavement because it hasn't been touched since 98 when we paved it last.
Right.
Okay,
So it'll grind
Quick.
really quick and they know that. And whereas Pine Street's got 6, 8, 10 inches.
okay.
And they have to grind it, all in order to allow the road to do its thing without having cracks where, you know, if you leave a section underneath that's on the ground, it's gonna move different than the rest of it and it's gonna crack the road.
I guess before I could weigh either side of this for spending that was, with taking this from the capital roads, are we gonna be able to do all the drainage we want on Pine Street? With your quotes?
Well, there's 163,000 left over.
Even after the 300,000 that we need to do the stonework. The river cribbing.
Yeah, let me show you that.
I think you had it there.
And that's a necessary thing that has to be
Well,
done.
we're not gonna pave the road till we do it, because you gotta dig the road out in order to do it.
Okay.
They have to dig down in order to be able to set the rocks at the base of the river.
Right.
Okay.
So, this over here is the Lincoln Road project. This is the quote that we had gotten from Masterson. Today, we learned that they are willing to reduce it by $20,000 by cutting out the paving. So we saved $20,000 from that quote, the original quote, which was $540,000 originally. But now we can put that back in, it reduces that. So what we need to raise for that is $371,000.
372.
Yeah, 372. But if we go back over here,
Yeah.
we have it, it's there, and it's included.
In that 480.
Yep.
So Eric, with that budget that's left over, I mean, is that you would feel good about the other projects that are on your plate that you have to do? Like you could cover them with that amount of money, or are we leaving you short?
The only other project I got in the works right now is the drainage on Pine Street that, we need to talk about at some point soon. And that money there we would just about deplete it with what I've got for pricing right now, right?
I'm not even on the Public Works
Not even
Department. It
close.
makes me nervous.
What's that, Michelle?
That's
I
the
said,
one,
I'm
yeah.
not even on Public Works Department, but that number makes me nervous.
I know, right?
Not
Good,
sure.
Eric, question.
Yeah. So,
If
no,
we ask
actually, we would be
Pikes
in good
to
shape.
get to your 250, if we ask Pikes to say, okay, what if we top it, the Lincoln Road, or we don't want it to top it because we want it settled?
I think if they're
Yeah.
digging the road and that, we wanna let it go.
I wanna let it
Yeah.
ride for
Okay.
a couple of years.
Well, so, but we're not digging the entire road out, but we would have to slope it in and then only do maybe.
But like you said,
Couple hundred
we
feet.
can get, how long has Firehouse Drive been in? That's just the base coat.
That's true.
So is, Tatro Hill. On Lower Notch Road,
But-
it's just a base up through to Mikey's. That's just the base.
You know, I was, Eric and I were
Pete
talking.
did that.
Yeah.
Eric and I were talking about it this afternoon. I stopped over, was, sometime these bases have got to get another inch and a half on them, or an inch of finish,
We're not doing an inch.
or whatever you figure. We gotta do the finish coat, and that's gonna be years that we're not gonna get other paving done, because we're gonna use our paving money. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So I have one more thing to share with you. I know this is a sensitive subject, but I'm gonna mention it anyway. ARPA funding, it's there. I mean, and it's the select board's decision what to do with it. But currently, without factoring whatever interest has been earned, there's over $260,000 available. So just wanna put that out there.
But do we know what proposals haven't been funded yet?
Well, not for tonight's discussion. I don't know that off the top of my head.
I like your thought, Valerie, and I would like to kind of hang on that nest egg and shut the door for any other groups, so to speak, to come in yet, because we may need that in 3-4 years, 2 years for, basin,
Yeah,
for
we're
sure.
gonna need a lot for bases.
We're
Don't we
committed to
have to
that.
spend it by the end of 2026?
no, we don't.
No, we don't.
No, we don't. It's already been spent in their eyes.
Yeah, cause you took the lump sum
Yeah.
type deal, yep.
Yeah, we should check, see if we have to do a report too. I think we do.
You
at
do.
some point.
Yeah, we do.
And also, I mean, if you spend it on something like that, it just goes into an already bigger budget. It's a small drop of money, whereas it could catalyze something really important depending on what the other things are. So we'd at least want to see what the other
Yeah.
possibilities
That
are.
was,
you know?
that was, to do the most good was our goal, so yeah.
Right.
Hey,
So I'm
Val,
not saying don't do that. I'm just saying let's
What's
look at
that,
the
Michelle?
other.
Val, quick question. Is the money in there for the farmer's market
It
that
is,
that we'd kind of reserve?
yes. Yeah, it's up here.
Okay.
You're marked for the farmer's market.
Okay. All right.
So this up here reflects the decisions that have been made so far
Today, yeah.
to date. And including the $500 that was paid to place the bus shelter by Shaw's.
It actually looks pretty good, and I've had a couple of comments on it.
And there had been a discussion about earmarking $5,000 for the bus shelter, so that's reflected here, minus the 500. So that's the 5,000. And the other one that hasn't been achieved yet is the library outdoor classroom, and that's uncertain. But that's where we stand with ARPA. I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Okay.
So it would, if,
What do we, so what do we want to layer off with on the grinding? Go ahead.
So the grinding and also is gonna be contingency on, Pine Street drainage.
Right.
So like I said, I got all the stuff here. I just wanted to let you guys know I got it all and you guys can look at it. Just don't say any numbers.
Right.
And then, put it on for next agenda and we can award whoever. And then that also gives a timeline on when they can start the drainage. So I don't wanna grind the road in May if for some reason they can't start it until September. I don't wanna,
Right,
grind.
not dirt.
Right.
Where
So-
would we paint the letters? Where would we paint the numbers for the parade?
Exactly.
In the dirt.
So what I wanna do is, once you guys decide on that, and grind it like 2 weeks before the contractor's gonna come in and do the work.
Right.
And then I talked to Mike Winslow, not Mike Winslow,
the other Mike,
Mike Mullen, about that, and he said,
The pipe mic?
Pipe Mike.
Like,
He said, no problem as far as just let him know when the grind, he'll make it
price is
work
good till when?
until I get it done.
So that price.
Through the
is good
summer.
for the summer.
through this 24th.
As far as the grinding goes, the paving, depending on when we do the paving, they usually have an increase usually around June, July. For the oil, if it's significant, that he usually bumps me up $1 or so. If it's not, he'll usually hold the price. So,
For
Go ahead.
digging these irrigation ditches on Pine Street, some of those houses are really, really close to the road.
No, it'll all be in the road.
It'll be in the road.
they'll
Okay,
be
good.
underground.
Okay,
All
so
you
we don't
gotta,
have to dig up people's yards in
No.
the middle of the summer. Okay,
well, yeah, to put the lines in, then you bury them back in and to do,
Where are you going that you're gonna be out of the right of way?
where, on Pine Street?
Yeah.
Nowhere, you'll be all in the right of way, but she's saying
but
the
the
front
right of
lawns.
way, right, the right of way.
We're gonna be
goes
in
up to
people's front lawns,
Not much.
about 6-8 feet.
Some of those houses, that's their front step.
Yeah.
So we'll wanna let people know that that's coming.
Yeah, I've talked to them all, and
Okay.
they're all good so far.
Okay,
Nobody has balked at it, just because they want the water gone.
good.
But after the project is done, then all their lawns and all their stuff will be all restored back to original, what they are now.
Good.
So those quotes are just
That's,
from Maple Street to North Street water.
No, from basically Taylor to Jackman Drive.
it's gonna get everything, it's gonna,
Well, no, but the paving's all that water starts at North Street. And heads down and gets to Jackman Drive, and it
Yeah.
comes down Taylor Avenue and turns through the S turn.
yeah, so we're doing basically, like you said,
If you
from
look,
North
Maple
Street
Street and North Street are higher than Jackman Drive.
to, yeah, Taylor to North.
That's, I was thinking more Maple than North again, because on my end,
Oh, well, maybe going the other way, but
And
this
then,
is that upper end.
So just back to a quick question, without naming specific numbers, is it within that 163?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I just remembered too, I wanna mention that, this number for Lincoln Road. Includes a $40,000 grant that we don't know if we have yet. We won't know until maybe.
Oh, so you may have to add that to that
Right.
price.
You're
Right.
still good.
You're still good.
Okay,
Yeah, but we're getting
so,
really
so
close.
if that becomes 123, then we're okay.
We're still there.
Yeah, we're still good.
Okay.
we had a 4, even all 4.
Okay, good. I mean, it seems to me, I wasn't here for these discussions originally, but I mean, it seems like we have to do all three of these, right? Like there is nothing that can be deferred.
We can't, the issue with if we don't do the riverbank restoration, we could lose the whole road. I mean, we've been.
Yeah.
You haven't ordered them yet? That's coming out of your operating budget.
Oh, I can.
It isn't like, the thing with culvert, Eric, is it's not like you're not gonna use it. You
Oh,
know,
no, but that's a lot of footage. And,
I understand.
and that's,
900 foot.
yeah.
Well, it is what it is now, right? So it's gonna take a month. We're losing Joel. We have to keep going.
But it's coming out, if you've got it figured in your operating
Not
budget,
my operating budget. This is all capital roads.
so you gotta add that number to.
No, well,
Within that one.
because this one here is for the material. That's everything.
Yeah.
And then, of course, contract work.
Yeah.
Paving this is coming out of my operating budget, the paving part of it.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about that. But this is what's gonna be these two.
Okay.
I don't have, I mean, I
Yeah.
can take it out of my operating, if I'll be over,
Well, yeah.
you know?
Can it be half and half? Take what's there out of your operating.
My culvert line right now is, I'm just a hair over my culvert line right now, I
Oh.
believe.
Never mind.
Overall, I'm still good, as far as the overall budget goes.
Mhm.
I'm still good.
So you can overspend that line as long as we know that the reason it was overspent was because of this project, if you have extra money. I mean, that's the way they did projects before. That's how you got the new floor in the green barn,
It is.
you know, so it's
As long
not,
as my overall is good,
yes.
then yeah, and I'd have to go back through. I have to see if I can talk nice to Sharon and see if she'll give me a printout.
Is there a benefit to doing it that way?
It's paid for.
It's paid for already. You don't have to worry about taking it out of capital reserves or anything like that.
Okay.
I mean, at the end of
Just
the,
come to,
Yeah.
comes to,
come July
fund
first,
balance.
come July first, any money he hasn't spent goes to the
Designated.
yeah, it's not undesignated,
No,
it's,
Unspent funding or
no, what is it, Michelle?
Unassigned.
Unassigned, yeah, they changed the wording on me, and I hate change, so.
I would like to, if we're gonna do Pine Street drainages, there's both ends. From the Mountain Health driveway towards Munsell Avenue Munsell Avenue is a spitting image, just wider than Taylor Avenue. Comes right down through and goes right down Kimball's driveway and goes both ways towards my driveway is a little higher.
Kind of late in the game to be.
We've been knowing about it.
Throwing that in it, we don't have the money. I mean,
I would not say not pave it, do just the base and maybe
dig it up.
another year or two, we do drainage on. I mean, one of those prices is pretty good, so maybe drainage on that side and run it down somebody's, you know.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get permission to dump it.
Yeah.
Right,
so-
fortunate that we.
Well, I thought we were gonna put chambers in the ground over by me,
These are
right
all,
from Munsell Avenue to Jess Berry's driveway, where that water sits there all
I
the
don't
time.
ever even remember discussing it, Joel. I don't, I'm sorry.
Well, I thought we discussed chambers, those big baffles in the ground.
We talked some about chambers, but we never, to my knowledge, we never.
Remember when
talked
Al and
about it.
I drove up and down a golf cart? He said, probably chambers here, because there's no place to dump it.
We didn't,
We didn't discuss it, but I know that.
He didn't bring it, we didn't discuss it as a board, did I recall? Do you, Michelle, do you remember?
Where are we talking again?
Off of the end of Munsell.
Up the end of Munsell in that area, from Munsell to Liberty.
Darla's house? You're talking about by Darla's house?
No, up on the north end. on the
Pine
corner
Court
of
Line.
Pine and-
I don't remember. I remember us talking about Pleasant and Munsell with the drainage down on that end and doing something, but I don't remember on the north end.
Yeah.
In
I
my
don't-
recollection of the chambers, the dry wells was on the east end of Pine Street, not by Jackman Drive.
Yeah, before they gave us permission, we can go down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you, one of those, is that what you three sat, or you two sat with Timmy and what, with or just,
No chambers, it's all pipe.
it's all
Pipe
piped
dry
down?
wells in the pipe and it dumps down where it dumps now.
Okay,
That's why there's so much culvert.
all right.
Can I also ask for the paving of Pine Street? Were we going to put in that bike pedestrian lane, or does that come at a later stage in the process? So do we repaint the lines?
We haven't, last year we backed out of that because of the cost and we weren't sure it was gonna work. So as far as those lines going in, as of right now, I don't believe there are any plans for that. So yeah, I guess the short answer is no.
Okay, could we talk about that? So if we have to put in lines anyway, that would be a good time to try it out as a pilot.
I thought Eric was gonna, to save costs, we were gonna kind of walk down the crosswalk machine and do a free.
We never talked about any of that.
Okay, I'm losing my mind.
No,
He said, no, he said he can't.
I can't do it with that machine. There's no way. I mean, the thing would be going like this all the way down the street. And
Well, on that street now you would, yeah.
you're still gonna, even with, you get a pebble on one of them tires and it kicks you off.
You did have this discussion because I remember it because you made fun of him for River Road and you said it would look like the
Yeah,
striping on
we
River
did
Road.
talk about it. And I can't do a straight line with pushing it for that distance. Well, for me, it's impossible.
So we had an estimate, right?
Yeah, to have a truck come in and do it.
Right.
We will get the center lines the state pays for.
Right.
Not on that.
Not on that
On
street.
that street?
Only
No,
class two.
only class twos.
So we
We've
won't
never,
have center
I
lines.
don't think we've
There's-
ever done centers,
There's no
center
lines.
lines on the
No.
interior.
No,
village
part of the
streets.
debate was that striping would encourage faster speeds, and that not having lines is more traffic calming.
So we wouldn't put any lines at all on Pine Street. We would simply pave it.
Yeah, just like it was before, back to original, no lines, no nothing, just pave it
That's
back
the
the way it
current
was.
plan.
Okay. And so to add a line to create like a pedestrian walkway down Pine would be extra money.
It'd be $4,000. It was $7
close
grand
to
to do
five.
everything.
To do everything, it was right around, right
Yeah.
around 4,500, $5,000 to do
Right.
both lines on that, if you wanted to stick with both lines as original.
And do we have that anywhere in a budget, or that would be an extra cost?
That would be an extra cost.
Okay,
And
They're having-
and it would be an annual cost.
right.
Get my Florence roller, we gotta do there, I'll do that for $3,000.
Well, no, I mean, if they
Roller.
want to write a grant application to do it the first
Yeah.
time, then it would just become part of the striping that we would do.
Well, yeah, you'd have to add that money into the budget every year to cover the cost of
Restriping.
restriping it.
Right. But you would do it with the restriping that happens around town and it
No.
all happen together?
Well, I wouldn't do it, you'd have her hire a
Right,
truck, like
right.
I said.
But like
Yeah, I would
once a year.
incorporate it in
Yeah.
with the same time frame. Yes.
Good. They're having their meeting on Thursday, so I just thought I could update them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Not all the right answers, not the answers you were hoping for, but they're the.
so where do we
I
wanna,
I just
yeah,
like
we wanna-
answers.
let Eric, we're gonna proceed with Lincoln Road and Pine Street?
So moved.
Yes,
Is
second.
there a second? Michelle, you got any more questions for us?
Nope.
Sorry, I'm leaving you out, Michelle. I have to keep looking up, see if you got your hand up. Just yell to me.
That's okay. I'm
Michelle.
a little punch happy.
Okay. Right, there's a motion.
Is that why you stayed home, so we didn't get hit?
No, because I
There's a
just
motion
got
and a
home
second to,
just before I logged on and I've been up since 2 AM. So
Okay, There's a motion and a second to have Eric proceed with the Lincoln Road grinding and paving quotes from Pike and Pine Street.
Yes, I second it.
And there's a second to that. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Okay. Go ahead, Eric, you got your marching orders. Now the second, number 3.
But just to follow up, so at the next meeting, we're going to discuss the drainage.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Consider authorization for the Public Works Department, wait a minute, back to that one first. If we're going to discuss that drainage.
It's gonna be on next agenda. I can't.
No, I know
divulge anything
that,
yet,
you
but-
can't deviate
He
from
wants
that.
to expand it.
I'd like, if we're going to pave that street, at least consider if there was money available in the capital to do all of Pine Street in the drainage, not just
So,
the east end.
yeah. All
We
right,
got the same
so,
problem on the west end. I
so
realize
Peter,
it's late.
Peter and I would have to walk it and see, of course, where the water runs and all that, to come up with a plan.
That would probably have to be Chambers, because you're not gonna be
Yeah,
able to dump onto people's land without permission. When I don't see anybody down there giving us permission to dump. I wouldn't want it.
you know, the only other thing in the chambers, you could do the same structures that we're doing now. On Jackman's side, and not connecting with pipes. They would be just a standalone dry well.
Dry well, yeah.
Which that works so well on the corner of
Oh,
Liberty.
There you go. I mean,
That's. And the chambers are gonna be a lot more involved.
they're gonna be a lot more,
Yeah.
well, they're there and there. They're not that big a deal.
No, but you're taking what?
You're gonna take, we're gonna take a lot of space
Yeah,
on a section of road where we don't have the right of way.
right.
It's only 2 rods from Maple down.
So it would actually have to be almost be in the road.
Yeah, then you're
The chambers
talking,
right on the dry wells. I didn't know whether
The other-
you could know where the old fuel landing was.
yeah, the other thing that Steve was talking to me about too, he drew some concepts. Up, and when we grind it, actually re-pitching the road.
It's one of the advantages for grinding it
Right, so pitch it towards the
north.
north
Towards the north, so all the water goes off all the time.
evenly.
Evenly,
Yes.
and not just in certain spots, so you could have it shed naturally like it's supposed to, and not just go to one and then dump.
You look by the 6-inch, by the new fire hydrant by Lucy
Yeah.
Kimball's property. There's already right down the middle of the lawn, there's a washway coming from Munsell Avenue, or down the middle of our lawn already.
And that could be reshaped so the water,
Right. Well, anyway, okay, all right, that's over, we've got a motion in a second, and we passed that. Okay, consider authorization for the Public Works Department to shift to 4 10-hour days starting the first week of May.
Sounds good.
first full week of May.
First full week.
Second.
There's a motion and a second, any discussion? Michelle, you have any comments for that?
No, I just have I thought we always did this after Memorial Day, I think was what it was, the summer hours started. I know last year they started May, but
Yeah, normally, we start the summer hours the first or second week in May.
okay.
Normally the 9s and the 4s is what we used to do, and then last year you guys let me do the 10s, but we had to do that after school was out, in between school.
August.
Yeah, well, school was out, we did the 10s there. So this year I was just, instead of going with the 9s and 4s to start with, I just wanted to start out with the 10s to begin with.
I don't think we get the productivity. I hate to say it, I'm gonna say it in front of Eric.
No, go ahead.
I don't think we get the productivity in the 4 hours on Friday. I don't think it's worth I really don't think it's worth our money to have them come in.
I agree.
That extra 2 hours at the end of every day, if they're in the middle of something, we get way more productivity than we do.
I thought it went good last year.
Eric, this is a 6 to 4 then?
No,
7 to 5.
6:30 to 4:30, I think is what we did last year. But
So when I leave in for work at 6:45, I'm gonna see the boys going by the garage and headed out doing work,
God, I hope so.
not sitting in the garage.
So I asked everybody about it. Everybody was for it except for one. And he wanted me to tell you guys that he's not for it, which I'm passing along to you guys.
Understand all that.
So, and he's not gonna do them.
And last year, he was able to use vacation time and
Yeah.
other time, leave time.
Leave time
fill in it.
to take up the
Those 2
time that he
hours.
does.
So he'll work 4 nights and take Friday off. Cause that was our only, right, and he'll take Friday off,
No.
Yeah, he'll have to take Friday out.
cause we didn't want anybody over there alone.
Well, no, that's not it. I mean, the new highway hours are gonna be 6:30 to 4:30, Monday through Thursdays. There's no Friday here at all.
Right,
So he's gonna, if he wants to doesn't wanna do the 10-hour days, then he's gonna use vacation time Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday
okay,
to compensate for whatever time that he wants to leave,
If he wants to leave after 9 hours, he's gonna have to use an hour of vacation.
or 8, he'll have to
if
use
that don't
2
feel good, I
per
can
day.
work 10 days,
Yeah.
whatever, okay,
So,
okay. All right, is there a motion, Michelle, you got any comments on that? Just accept them. Okay, I entertain a motion,
You have a motion.
And a second.
I don't, sorry. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstained? Okay. Review and approval of the 2020-24 local emergency management plan.
That's
I'll
not
send
me.
that to you.
Unless you wanna chime in on it.
But he can do that from back.
that back
Okay, yeah.
That's where he wants to be.
Yeah.
Just when you get done that, just give me that back if you
Sure.
copy it all.
So hopefully folks had a chance to see the updated version that went around this afternoon after I had gotten some very good constructive feedback from different folks on things that needed to be updated and clarified. So the current one went around this afternoon. The version that's online isn't a great deal different, except it's redacted to remove private information. Probably the big ticket items to discuss is whether the select board agrees with the suggestion that the police department no longer be the alternate emergency operations center and that instead it be the fire station.
I think that that's probably easier because there's more room for
Right.
people to operate out of. Bruce, are you good with that?
I agree. They have more space, better parking, and it's a better choice.
And also, hopefully in a few years, it'll be a little complex right there and they'll be
won't matter.
mutually complimentary. And yeah, last year I went to the police station to check things out, check in, and there is no space. There is absolutely no space for an ERC.
I know.
It
in the
beats
flood-
2 rooms they used to have.
Yeah, the flood of 98, everything ran out of the fire station, and when the state showed up and there was 3 feet of water where they had their trailer parked.
Wow.
Oh, that was 04, I'm sorry.
So other changes that are in this updated plan are updated people where there had been turnover. So that contact information is updated, including for the fire department representatives. And let's see, the things that are really the only other things that are hanging out there have to do with the shelters. And that's been the case for a while. And Meredith and I talk to each other frequently about, gee, we really need to do this and reach out to the schools and coordinate with folks and get the logistics down. And we just haven't been able to find the time. Yeah, we will. But, and we've let the school folks know that this is also on the radar and they're looking forward to it.
Okay,
Okay,
anything more on that? You don't need a motion or anything
we do need a motion.
to accept it?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then the form needs to be signed by the chair.
Okay,
Oh, this one.
I'll entertain a motion then.
He's
Michelle,
doing
you
it.
wanna make?
Why are
make
you
that
looking at
motion?
me?
Go ahead, make the motion.
I'll make the motion, but I have to be honest, I haven't looked at it.
Well, I just pretty much went through it.
Okay, there you go.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. I guess for the chair to sign this,
Yes, please.
looking at local emergency management plan, municipal adoption form. Any board discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
All right.
Hi.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay.
I didn't want to steal all the motions, Michelle.
I was happy to let you do it
We want you to feel like you're part of the meeting.
from
Okay,
afar.
Right.
All right, a new number 5, proposed Hartscrabble
Right.
Cemetery.
Right, so the question had been, is there a plan for the cleanup and did we want, was it Butler?
Yeah, Greg Butler mows it and he called and asked what the plan was, whether he was to be expected to do the cleanup or
I
if
think,
another plan in place.
I think, there's one tree there that's not safe that he
Right.
can't clean up. There's a cherry tree that's leaning
Yeah.
and we're gonna have to have sergeants take that down or whoever you're using for trees.
Sergeants.
And then probably have to have him pick up that, somebody cut up, I think it was Sheldon Steady cut up most of the other stuff.
I saw somebody in there cutting stuff.
Yeah. It's a little big on the far end and I don't think that's anything he can deal with, so. Do we wanna have Eric get Brett up there to take a look at it or?
That tree, I wouldn't even, if we didn't figure, I would advise we close the cemetery, cause that could, little windstorm, that could fall and hit somebody if they were there visiting a
Well,
grave.
my concern isn't only that, but the fact that it's
Could be more
over,
damage.
it's over gravestones,
Right.
that could damage if it does come down.
Yes, and I had a call from a lady today that asked if we were gonna do anything, because she actually goes in and cleans stones. So.
Did you tell her this crew does absolutely nothing? You wanted to.
Tell her that.
What?
I said, we're looking at it, we know about it.
I asked her if she told him we did absolutely nothing.
So we do have a $50,000 grant for townwide tree stuff, including removals, plantings and trimming. We haven't gone through yet as a group, with Josh, the other Josh, and the tree warden to identify and Meredith, which trees are to be removed and trimmed. We don't have the list yet, so whether that tree is on the list, or if there are other ones that are higher priority, or however.
I gave you my list, right? And I gave somebody a list that I had for trees.
Yeah, was that on there?
The cemetery was not.
Okay,
No, this is all wind damage.
right,
I mean, we
right,
cleared everything out of there we wanted to last year, and maybe
right.
what we ought to do is have John run up there and take a quick peek before you have Brett out there and see if there are any other trees that he feels should come down now that we, others that are damaged or.
Yeah, I agree with Peter. I'd like to reconsider, I know John didn't want to at first, I'd like to reconsider having him look again and possibly taking the trees out in the front so we can put the fence up. That cemetery looks like.
Well, it did raise some concerns when we originally talked about taking all those trees out of the front. We had a couple of complaints and that's why they ended up staying. John went up and reconsidered what he had done. Cause we were
But
there.
I'm wondering if we're gonna continue to fight this battle with wind every time.
Well, the
trees
trees,
getting weak.
the trees that fell weren't the trees in the front.
No, they weren't.
In the back. I would say have John look at them before you get Brett there, and if there's anything more to take.
Cause you have money in your regular budget for tree removal also, in addition to this $50,000 grant. So it sounds like it
So
makes
maybe let's
sense just
use
to have
that
it done, and we'll figure out where the.
Well, that's about known as well, cause it cost me $3,000 to take that one down on Church Street.
Well, it needs to be done.
Mhm.
It needs to be done, or the cemetery needs to be.
I mean, I can do it, I can take it out of my budget, like I said, my bottom line is still good.
Mhm.
So, and if I'm over on that line, it's not by much right now, so that one tree up there. I haven't looked at it, but it's probably not gonna be more than probably $700-800 tree.
Mhm.
Well, there's the other mess that needs to be cleaned
All
up
of
too.
that probably,
Oh, so you want Brett to do?
Well, it's bigger
Well,
than,
John says, what.
it's bigger than anything that anybody else is gonna be able to pick out of there. He's gonna have to pick it out from Hillside again. The big,
Oh, okay.
the big,
One is leaning to the north there.
locust tree that came over on the southeast corner.
Okay,
Sheldon's cut most of it up, but what's left there is like this.
so he's gonna have to take it out with his crane. And
Yeah,
then skid steer it around like he did before.
Yeah.
Okay.
that is my thinking. I mean, it's nothing I can get to, so I can't do it.
Yeah, and there's no,
We could,
that's
if
still
we
about-
tracked in there with the excavator, we'd end up.
Oh, you can't get over in that
No,
southeast corner.
Oh, yeah, now with the headstones there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay.
Well, you could get there, but.
we probably got less than 5 weeks before they start planting corn.
They get a lot less than that. They'll be planting.
They'll be planting.
In the middle of May, so 3 weeks.
Within the next 2 weeks, they'll be
Yeah.
planting.
So,
Last year they planted corn in April, so.
Yeah.
yeah,
It won't
there you
be
go.
Well, they have to wait for at least a week. It's gonna snow Wednesday.
They don't have to.
I guess.
Yeah, so-
No, they'll plant and then whatever don't come, they'll just replant. So,
Okay,
If it ends up being really expensive, can we apply to the state for some of the FEMA money? Or you had to have gotten that application in already? Okay,
the windstorm wasn't
It was the
declared.
wrong windstorm too.
wrong windstorm.
Yeah,
Does
It
anyone
just
really know
happened.
that?
I mean, the last 2 months ain't bigger.
Huh?
Last 2 months, that one,
yeah.
I've just noticed it.
It was,
So you want me to get John out there to look at everything first, to see if anything else needs to go?
we got him, we should use him. I wouldn't be afraid to defer to Brett, but I think that's our,
John sees some leaders, he will say, yeah, that one is just another windstorm away from going, that's gotta come back in again. So, yeah. Might be better just to say,
Yeah, I can reach
mark
out-
these
I can
3
reach out.
and whatever they got.
Have him check it.
Okay, Michelle, you got anything on that? On the cemetery? No? Okay. All righty, so you don't need a motion for that, just want to talk about that cemetery, gonna get some pricing, or get Brett up there. Okay,
Item 6.
number 6, continue appointment or reappointment of town officers or representatives, maybe include deliberation in executive session because appointments.
So the 2 appointments that we have tonight are Brad Cameron to the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, reappointment, and reappointment of Jen Myers to the Revolving Loan Fund Committee.
Second. Motion is second, any comments? Michelle, you got anything on those 2? No,
We did receive John Merriman's message that he
does not want to be reappointed.
yeah, I think actually he might be resigning. In my notes, in my tier report, I think I got a little mixed up that John Merriman is actually resigning from the Conservation Commission, and Carl Engvall indicated that he would not be seeking reappointment to the Energy Committee next year.
Okay.
So just to clarify that.
Okay, but we have a motion here for those 2 reappointments, so all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, abstained, okay. Review and approval of the February 12th, 26th, April 1st, and April 8th, 2024 meeting minutes.
The only one that's ready is April 1st.
Okay,
That went out this afternoon.
any questions on that? I haven't seen it yet.
The outstanding
looked at
ones, the outstanding ones are February 12th, the 26th, and April 8th.
Correct.
So you wanna hold off all 4, or do you wanna?
Well, we're
Just
gonna
for
have to
that.
hold off on 3 of them because they aren't ready.
Okay,
April
we'll hold
1st,
off
I
on
haven't
all
looked
4.
at, so.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll hold off on all 4. Okay, accounts payable, liquor license.
Didn't we do this one? I realized I had a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
that was the pay orders.
Okay. Didn't I
Who's got
sign this
the-
one too?
Yes, you did.
There.
If that's you,
Yeah,
you did.
That's me, that's.
Okay, I'll recognize that
I'm
anywhere
fast,
now.
I'm fast.
$113,044.91.
And I do have a liquor license that I got this afternoon. It's a 2nd-class one for Wells Mountain. And just a FYI, they're having a spaghetti event at St. Ambrose on the 28th, and they're gonna be serving red and white wine, and one of their people is taking the class, so they'll be serving it themselves.
Good for
That's
them.
just a one time, but the other one is the 2nd class for Wells Mountain, so I need a motion for that.
Okay, and add the 2 liquor licenses in. Okay, or 1 liquor license and 1 temporary one, I guess it's
So
called.
moved.
Second.
Second, any more
So
discussion?
moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you, Michelle. Abstain, okay. 8A, closing, cost on the land. Do you wanna put a number in?
Right,
I saw
we
your
don't, we
email.
don't know what that's going to be yet, so if, and I don't know that the select board needs to specifically authorize this, since it's part of the whole process of purchasing the property, but just for transparency, authorization to have me sign the closing documents and for a check to be cut for whatever the closing costs are.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Check cut for closing costs. All those, any discussion?
Yeah, Val, quick question. Do you know why it got put off till Friday?
Not
Kevin wasn't
exactly.
ready?
Yeah, I think, had just finished up the title report perhaps, or, the folks haven't had a chance to review the title report or something. They
Okay.
don't have all the pieces together yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Dang lawyers.
Yeah, I
All those
know.
in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay.
I would like to ask though, I mean, we're gonna go ahead and close, but I would also like it if we could start talking to maybe some of the other towns about funding this project. Just because I know that a lot of other towns are also thinking about transportation projects, and 4.7 acres is pretty big. So I'd like to at least reach out to other towns and see what their needs are and see if there would be any possibility of sharing funding.
And also, you mean in terms of sharing facilities, so
Right.
this would be a cooperative facility for other towns to also use.
Right.
That's a much broader discussion.
Mhm.
I'm not even in favor of that at all.
Well, unfortunately, I mean, what we're seeing with the town vote on the school budget, I mean, we are going to have to find some sort of funding. So if there's grant funding, that's great. If not, though, I mean, what would this project cost? Do we have any?
I think it's a
Couple
bit
million
premature to be
Throwing numbers
going
around,
there, yeah.
But if we don't start talking to them before they find other sites, then that's closed.
I think the next step is for us to put a scope of work together and hire an engineer, a design engineering firm to do a site analysis to first see what the site can accommodate in terms of water capacity, sewer capacity, site constraints and other things. There might be easements that encumber the property. So I think that would be the next step.
Right. I'm just concerned because as we move forward, you know, it's like, we know we have this water project. We hope we're gonna get something good there, but we might not. We have more water projects. We have this facility. We have the police department. And with the school budget, I mean, who knows what's going to happen with that? It feels like a lot
It is
to
a
ask
lot.
people to spend for. And I want you to have this facility, right? So I'm trying to think creatively, you know, are there ways that we can bring in additional funding to get it without asking the voters to eat the whole cost? That I'm just worried about that.
I think you're gonna be hard pressed to get a town to move their facility out of their town. I mean, I wouldn't think that this board would want we struggled with moving that far. I wouldn't think that this town would want ours to move to New Haven. That's just my thoughts, but I'm open to the discussion. That's not, I think that it's one of those things that communities want their own and they don't, you know, they already share the equipment that they can share.
Mhm.
We have equipment that's purchased with other towns. So we are looking into that. If it's something that's gonna set 90% of the time that we can share. At one point, there was discussion about, you know, a grader is a $250,000 investment, sharing one with another town. But the problem is they both need them at the exact same time. If there's a weather event, you know, and
I totally get all of that. I'm just saying that.
yeah, oh no, I know where you're headed, and
There's sort of the ideal, and if we had unlimited money, that's totally what we would do. And then there's something else which is in the middle. And so all I'm saying is that if we it seems like from what I've been reading that New Haven is looking to move their facility, but they haven't purchased land and they can't find land that's appropriate. So if that's the case and we have land and they're going to be building new buildings anyway, would that be something they would consider? It might be worth a conversation is all I'm saying. It doesn't have to be an agreement or an MOU or anything like that. Just to know
thought
what
New
the
Haven had
process is, right?
I thought New Haven had a site.
Did they find one already?
For
I
fire.
don't know, for some reason, I thought they had one.
They had a site for fire that they had, there's septic problems, because when they built the new electric facility there, they took all the septic for the site.
septic, the capacity.
So
Okay.
they're working on ironing that out, but that was the fire department.
Okay.
And, you know, there again, the ISO rating, which is your insurance rating, you have to be.
Right,
in
I get
order,
that for emergency
you know,
services,
so-
exactly.
I was just gonna,
So
I was gonna say, this is a liability and an insurance nightmare. To have
Well, I
them.
understand it for like emergency services, right? Because every minute you're not there, that creates risk. But
No,
for
this is,
non,
I'm like talking, who's responsible for who, workers' comp, something happens on our site, you know, those are all things that would just be
right,
considered.
but I mean, in most towns that I've lived in, there are shared municipal services and, you know, they're done at the county level. I mean, there must be ways of doing it. This is the first place I've ever lived where each town has, regardless of how small they are, has all of their own services.
We
It's
don't
also
have
the
county
highest
level
tax rate I've ever paid in my life, which I guess these things go together, right?
Yep.
So I mean, at some point we have to decide, even if it's hard work, that, you know, maybe it's worth pursuing. Otherwise, we just keep putting it out to vote and.
It's worth asking the question, definitely.
Right, just to see what's possible, right? If it's a dead end, it's a dead end and we walk away from it. I would just like to put that out there that it's something that we consider doing however best, if that's like something you do or whatever. Okay.
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 All right. Valerie, when you said, well, you know, doing an engineering this and that on the cost of the land and this and that, you know, might be easements on it or conditions. I hope with our title search, you know, we don't wanna find out after we buy this thing, oh, there's an easement. Kind of like the corner of Route 22A and Route 7, when the solid waste district was gonna buy 38 acres. Oh, by the way, you can only use 3 to build on. The rest had covenants on it.
Right,
Well, I
right.
hope we've done our due diligence and our attorney has looked at all that and said, no, there's no covenants down there.
I have
You
not
can build
seen
on every
anything yet.
4.7 acres.
I've asked to receive copies of all that stuff to review and we haven't gotten them yet.
Well, it's kind of late now.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing any closing until we get to look at that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. So you need a motion to give you you're just gonna handle the closing
Yeah, you already authorized.
We already authorized that, okay.
Mhm.
Select board roundtable, we'll start with you, Peter.
Good.
Michelle,
Good.
Jessica?
Yeah, I don't have any updates yet.
I just have a question, with 2 school budgets going down and Melody committed to a large chunk of change, I believe, in spirit, they did, for Airport Drive sidewalk. Is that still,
They have the special reserve fund for that.
okay,
They've already got the money set aside.
but that's not a project that's gonna happen this year.
No, it needs to be designed first and go through permitting, so probably next year.
Okay,
We haven't gotten the grant agreement yet
okay,
to do anything.
that's all I had then. Town administrator's report.
Well, since the closing has been postponed from tomorrow, I hadn't planned to be in the office, but I'll be working from home tomorrow instead.
Okay.
Sounds good.
And other than that, I have nothing really to add to my TA report.
Okay, all right, thank you. Other business correspondence reports we received?
I do want to draw your attention to the letter we received from our auditor, alerting us that their fees are going to be increasing. We haven't seen what they are yet, because we are now in their 3rd year of their 3-year contract. So I believe this letter is going to be relating to a renewal of a new 3-year contract. So we don't know yet what those rates are going to be.
I don't know. I don't feel like I've gotten a final report for anything that I'm comfortable with, or I understand.
Right. Understood.
With the new fees, does it come with a new timeline that they can get stuff to us quicker?
Well, actually, they
That
did
might be
say
a
that
question I'd ask.
in their letter, they did say that, they did address that they've, one of the reasons for the new fees is because they're bringing on more people.
So instead of 18
And they're
months, so we
improving
do
their
17 and a half.
systems so that to be able to do more work more quickly.
Okay.
So that's,
you know,
That sounds like excuses to me, but
yeah, we get hung up on their recommendations. When they come through, they do their audit and they make all these recommendations. They do work for us.
mhm,
We do not work for them. They work for us. We're paying them to do a job.
right,
And they're, you know, I'm not saying that we shouldn't change things that need to be changed, but if it works for us and we've got along for a long time with it and our staff is really comfortable with it, I think some of the changes we need to rethink when, you know, just because they recommend it and it would make their life easier, doesn't mean it's gonna make our staff's life easier. So I think we should be aware of that when we just say, all right, we'll do it.
mhm. Yeah, I think we'll be able to have good discussions when Justin is,
Back.
able to put some attention to it. Yeah, one of the things that we're kind of hung up on, I am anyway, is this whole fixed assets approach. And so, I mean, it's a long list of things that need to be addressed, and I have a lot of questions about it, so.
I guess, if, I don't know, I've never been through an audit like that, but I would ask the question, okay, why do you want it that way? Do we have to?
Right,
If they just say, cause that's the way we like it,
right,
Yeah, they work for us. It's
you know, and
not,
say, no, then we don't have to.
yeah,
I'm gonna get back to Peter's question. So
Yep.
I do have a question, Sharon, for the accounts payable. We paid an unemployment claim for here,
It'll be the last one, but it's the end of the 18 months since she's been gone.
and that was somebody from the rec department, or who was it?
No,
I didn't
that
recognize the
was-
name.
The woman that worked here 3 weeks with,
Oh,
the treasurer.
yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay.
and this is like her 4th claim. She's had 4 jobs since she left.
is this
Filed
it? Is this
unemployment.
it for us?
Yeah, we, Justin called the Vermont Department of Labor and they said this will be her last one for us, cause we're at the tail end of the 18 months that they go back.
Okay,
So.
all right, thank you. And anything else, Valerie?
Executive session.
Yeah, we could.
No, as you saw also in the other business, the announcement for this year's bicycle ped grant round. So we do plan to submit an application in June for a scoping study for what the West Street sidewalk from South Street down to the Creamy Stand. Scoping study to upgrade that
South
sidewalk.
side.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you're over it, okay.
Align it, widen it, improve the drainage, all that good stuff.
Okay, so we're done there for correspondence? We're all set? We're all set?
Good.
Okay, we entertain the executive session?
I make a motion, we enter into executive session per 1 VSA section 313 to discuss personnel.
There's a motion and second.
You see the enthusiasm there?
I
Okay,
did catch
all right.
that.
We are going into executive session then. Thank you, Jimmy.